Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Kriebel and I'm a career counselor with the Career Design and Development Office at Widener University. We're going to be presenting this workshop, Take Control of Your Graduate Job Search. I'd like to start off by sharing a story of one of my colleagues about her experiences looking for a job soon after she got her graduate degree.
Hi everyone, my name is Marisol Rosado Perez, and today I'd like to share with you some tips regarding my job search and what worked for me. I graduated from undergrad in 2016 with a major in psychology and a minor in gender women's studies. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I didn't realize when I was an undergrad that finding jobs within the fields that I studied would be so difficult. It took me about 6 months, but I eventually found a position in mental health, community mental health to be specific. And after a year, I realized that although I was working in a field related to my major, I was not happy. And my health, both physical, mental, spiritual, were steadily declining. That's when I realized I probably need to pivot my job search. And when I thought about it, I realized that the Career Center at my undergraduate university was great. So I got in contact with our Career Center from my undergraduate university, and I had no idea what field I wanted to be in, which was a great start to the conversation. Essentially, I told my career counselor I want to do something in which I help people make a difference in the world. And my career counselor that I was chatting with that day actually was part of something called the Social Impact Consortium. I've heard of this before because I went to their career fairs, but I didn't really understand how they could help me. Luckily, my career counselor sent me a list of all the employers and all of the colleges that are part of the Social Impact Consortium. I realized that my job search was probably heading in the direction of higher ed because I wanted to help students who had similar challenges to myself. I started by creating an Excel sheet of all the contacts, sending each person a small email about how I'm a recent graduate and I'd love to interview them just for information. I'd love to learn more about their professional journey and get an idea of what they did to become so successful. Little by little, I met with people in person, over the phone, and also through video chatting. And I learned more and more with each informational interview. I always took notes. When we met in person, I made sure to dress up very nicely and professionally. And I always made sure to follow up with a sincere thank you email, citing one of the things we've mentioned in our conversation, so that the person realizes this isn't a generic thank you email. This is something I'm really taking time to create just for you, because I appreciate the time you put into helping me understand the field. And eventually, one of my informational interviews was with my current supervisor, who had an opening at the time. Because of my performance during our informational interview, my supervisor now realized that I would be a great fit for their office and what they were looking for.
So what did you notice about her story? What was her job search like? What were some of the resources that helped her in her search? How did she gather information? What kind of follow-up did she do? And how did she finally connect with her current employer? Marisol's story is a good illustration of the concepts that we'll be discussing in this presentation. Here is a brief overview. First, we're going to talk about the job search process. Then we're going to focus specifically on networking, and then specifically on job searching. The job search process has 3 parts: the investigative stage, the written communication stage, and the employer contact stage. Now let's look at each of these individually. The investigative stage is about gathering information. Gathering information about your skills and abilities so that you can decide how to best market yourself. Gathering information about specific jobs and careers so that you can clarify and specify the kind of position that you're looking for. And gathering information about specific careers and organizations so that you can decide on the kind of environment that you would like to work in. If at any point you're having difficulty with gathering any of this information, you're strongly encouraged to visit the Career Design and Development website or contact our office for additional assistance. The written communication stage refers specifically to the written documents that you will use to market yourself. These include resumes, CVs, and cover letters. Needless to say, these documents need to be flawless. And if you have any questions or concerns about creating them or would like a review, please visit the Career Design and Development website for resources, including our new presentation, Building Your Brand, Resumes, CVs, and Cover Letters for the Graduate Student, or contact our office for additional assistance. The employer contact stage is where you will begin to make connections with employers. We're going to talk about three main ways that this could happen: through employer-focused events, experiential learning, and networking. Employer-focused events include career fairs and employer information sessions, both in-person and virtual. Career fairs may be university-sponsored events held on campus or off-campus events sponsored by other entities. On-campus events may be organized by the Career Design and Development Office or by your department. You will want to check with the Career Design and Development website on My Widener, as well as the events section of Handshake, to find out about upcoming opportunities. You will also want to stay in contact with your academic department for information on events that they might sponsor. The same is true for employer information sessions. Currently, employer information sessions are being conducted remotely, but you should still prepare for them as if they are in person. In all cases, you will want to dress professionally and bring up-to-date, mistake-free copies of your resume. Also, make sure that you research employers that you are interested in and come prepared with a list of questions for them so that you can get the most out of the experience. Experiential learning includes internships, volunteer experiences, and special projects that could also lead to employment. Internship experiences can be found in a number of places, including Handshake, LinkedIn, and internships.com, to name a few. There may also be internship opportunities available on campus, for example, in the Counseling Center for students in the counseling program, or through your academic department. Be sure to check with your professors or program directors for these opportunities. Currently, most internship experiences are remote, including micro-internship opportunities through Parker Dewey. These experiences are short, paid projects, no more than 40 hours in length, that allow students to gain valuable experience in specific areas or with specific types of projects. For more information on micro-internships through Parker Dewey, visit the Career Design and Development webpage. Volunteer experiences can be found through the Office of Civic Engagement and outside sites like volunteermatch.org, and provide an opportunity to gain valuable skills and experience and make connections. Lastly, special projects that you complete through your classes can create and/or lead to new opportunities. Talk to your professors about what opportunities there might be for research and/or independent study. Now let's talk about a very important part of any job search, and that's networking. According to some studies, the majority of jobs, as many as 70 to 85%, are found through networking. So what is networking? Take a few moments to write down your own definition. Now consider this definition. Networking is creating mutually beneficial relationships that can help you develop professionally and personally. How does this definition differ from the one that you wrote down? Notice especially the emphasis on mutually beneficial relationships. Networking is a two-way street. So who exactly is in your network? Take a look at the list on this slide and see if you can come up with at least 2 people in each category that you might be able to contact. Here are some keys to being a good networker. As you look at this slide, notice how many things on this list involve attending to other people. Now let's take a look at 2 critical networking tools, the elevator pitch and the informational interview. The elevator pitch is a brief 30-second or so overview of who you are professionally, your relevant experience, and your relevant skills and personal qualities. Here's an example. Please take a moment to read through it. Now it's your turn. You are at a professional conference specific to your field. You start a conversation with one of the presenters who works for an employer that you find interesting. Maybe you can think of one in particular. You begin the conversation by introducing yourself. Now take a few moments to create your own elevator pitch. Now let's turn our attention to the informational interview. Here are a few things that you should keep in mind when conducting an informational interview. First of all, remember, you're not asking for a job, you're asking for information. The idea is to start a dialogue. The interview should be a mutual exchange of information, which will hopefully continue on past the initial meeting. The interview should be conversational but professional. A face-to-face meeting would be preferable, but it can also be conducted over the phone or over the internet if necessary. Remember, a good informational interview requires preparation on your part. If you take the time to prepare and choose your questions wisely, you'll have the opportunity to learn more about a specific industry, profession, company, or function, and get answers to the questions that are of most concern to you. Who should you conduct an informational interview with? People doing the work that interests you. And how should you get an informational interview? Start by collecting names from coworkers, from LinkedIn, from friends, professors, relatives, etc. Make contact with the person and ask for the opportunity to speak with them for 20 to 30 minutes, in person or on the phone. Make sure that you prepare a list of questions before you start the interview. And what sorts of questions should you ask? Here are some ideas. Take a moment to scan this list. Maybe you can think of a few additional questions that you might add. And don't forget to thank them. Sending a thank you note or email after a meeting or informational interview is always key. Now let's talk about your job search plan. Here are a few things to keep in mind as you begin your job search. First, set goals. Without goals, you're in danger of losing your focus and getting lost in the sea of information that you will encounter during your job search. Set time constraints also. Be realistic with yourself about how much time you can devote during a day or a week to your job search, but try to stick to the commitment that you set for yourself. Cast a wide net, but not too wide. You want to make sure that you get opportunities that might be of interest and even maybe be a little bit outside your experience. But you don't want to waste time on opportunities that have little chance of really panning out. Be focused. Look for quality over quantity. The more focused you are in your job search, the better chance you'll have of finding something that's a good fit. Once you begin your job search, the first question is where to look. Places where you might look for jobs include employer websites, job fairs, and job boards. A good place to start would be to develop a target list of employers that you are interested in. Bookmark their websites on your computer and check them on a weekly basis. Next, look for career fairs that feature companies or employers that interest you. Be sure to check out the Career Design and Development webpage for a list of upcoming career fairs or other career-related events. And finally, job boards. The job boards that you visit will depend on the type of position that you are seeking. Be sure to check out Handshake, which is designed specifically for students and features employers that have relationships with Widener. Once you target a job board, see if it will give you the option to create a job agent. A job agent will search for you based on criteria that you enter. You can set it up and then program it to email you with the results on a regular basis. Here is an example of job agent search results. As you conduct your job search, keep in mind that the title of your program and the job title do not necessarily need to match. Get creative with your keywords. A good idea would be to make a list of several keywords that encompass the types of positions you would be interested in. Look at the example below. This is for somebody who's searching for a career counselor or related positions. Some keywords and phrases that this person might consider using would be career, counselor, workforce development, advisor, education program manager. As you begin applying for positions, make sure that you keep track of your contacts and where you send applications. You can do this by creating a spreadsheet or creating a table in Microsoft Word. And remember, don't give up. Be persistent. A job search is a long-term commitment. Do not invest in just one position, because it might not work out. Continue searching until you have an offer in hand. Reframe a no into a learning experience. And stay organized and keep records. That concludes this presentation on job searching. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.